My name's Liam Williamson. I've played drums for about 15 years now. I'm currently in an indie rock band called Cats on the Beach. This is by far the oldest kit I've ever played. How do we know that this was actually used as a rock gong? Is it just from the patterns
because
and the
we
depressions?
have these archaeological traces. I mean, we have the wear of the rock gong, and that's not natural wear. So that really is artificial wear from hitting the rock with hard implements.
Okay.
And implements probably much harder than these wooden hammer blocks that we have.
Yep.
So, and sometimes we find small pebbles very close to those rock gongs with evidence of play. So little bits missing, you know, kind of the wear traces that tell us they probably used these hammerstones to play the rock gongs.
Okay.
Just
yeah, I was going to ask whether
Yeah.
these were located nearby when these rock gongs were discovered.
Yeah, maybe people picked them up somewhere else, kind of came with a plan, or people just picked them up locally and then went to play. So that's also something we try to understand. What would be the context in which people used to play that? Would it be something ritual or something to signal or something for fun,
Yep.
or all of that? At the Fourth Cataract, this slab was basically propped up on a much larger boulder. So you could either sit on that boulder or basically squat
Okay.
in front of the rock gong. And so the body position you would take would in any case be something like that, yeah? And you would play the rock gong either with one hand or with two hands, probably with a rock, because a small hammerstone. And the hammerstone, if you hit this rock for a long time, would leave these traces that we see here, like little depressions, cup marks.
Okay.
So if you see cup marks on these slabs or boulders, it tells you that this has been used for sound making in the past, and probably for a long period of time. So you could just hit this rock.
Oh, wow.
Or with two hands, and basically we try to understand from the traces that we find on these blocks how the people of the past may have played this.
I see. You can see, like, I guess there's indentations here and there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the more dark they are, the longer ago the playing event was or happened. So it's a long time ago that people played this, a very, very long time ago that people played this here, because it's fully patinated. So we don't have any recent evidence of play. And the more light these traces are, the more recent people played this rock gong or parts of this rock gong. So
Okay.
we can see that they used some parts in the deep past and then didn't use them anymore and focused on other parts. So that's how we try to understand how these rock gongs may have been played over time and what kind of tones people preferred over time. So again, with this slab you have two different ways of playing it, from up here and from down here. And then you can think, is it possible and feasible actually to play these two from that position to get
different kinds of sounds from the same rock?
Exactly. Okay. Or would you rather do that and somebody else would sit up there and play the rock gong from up here?
Playing with these pebbles compared to sticks is quite unusual to me while trying to work out how to hold them. Traditionally, you hold sticks in a certain way depending on whether you do match grip or traditional grip. And I kind of guessed, I mean, from the wear, how to sort of tap and play using these rocks. The response from the gong, from the rock gong itself, is quite unusual because normally on drums you have a certain bounce, and with these there's a sort of natural bounce of the object itself, but you kind of have to put more effort into your strokes, so to speak, when you're playing. How does this one differ? I mean, you can tell, I guess, the wear is there from what you were saying before.
Exactly. So what you did beforehand was very, very clever to try to play the two of them together. And if they'd been in one place, probably people would have done that. So we have a lot of evidence of people using more than just one slab or boulder locally, to use 2, 3, or 4 boulders to get different sounds and to combine different sounds, some very light sounds, some much lower sounds and things like that. So we often have that effect of different sounds coming together and being consciously used for some kind of melodies and things like that. This rock gong actually comes from a different place. Again, you would squat in front of it and you would play it squatting like that. And here you can also see where people played it. It's not played as heavily as this one. Mm-hmm. So it's been used for a couple of times and focusing on these different places here. And it's got a much, much lighter sound than this one.
Yeah, in a traditional drum kit you have such a distinction between the bass and the snare drum and the hi-hat, and it's the way that those kind of sounds play with each other and sit in the different gaps. So that makes a lot of sense where maybe this one wasn't played as much, but this one has like a deeper sound because of the size of the rock, I guess, as well.
Exactly. Maybe the place was significant for, whatever context the rock gong was played in. But also we were thinking about how you would play the rock gong. Do you use 2 hands or do you just use 1 hand playing these different spaces one after the other, or do you go like that?
I see.
So that's something we're trying to understand.
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe compared to a gong, it looks almost like the way a xylophone is played, to have different sounds.
Yes,
so each different pocket there maybe represents a slightly different sound.
Exactly. For me, it's difficult to see these rocks or these boulders just as an instrument in a gallery, because I always have their location in mind. I was out there in the landscape, kind of, you hear the wind. It's a very different experience seeing and playing the rock gongs out there in the landscape. I'm Cornelia Kleinitz. I'm an archaeologist and rock art specialist. I'm based in Berlin at Humboldt University, and I was part of the mission of the Sudan Archaeological Research Society, that's based here at the British Museum, during their work at the Fourth Nile Cataract in Sudan, where a large dam was being built that was going to flood a large stretch of the Middle Nile Valley. And so a lot of archaeological missions, among them the Sudan Archaeological Research Society, went to try to salvage as much knowledge and some of the objects from that area. These objects that we have in the gallery here at the British Museum now are some of the few ones that actually have left the area and are preserved still to be seen, because all the rest is now under the waters of the Mary Dam Lake and inaccessible to everybody. I think Liam did very well, and he should be permitted to come regularly and play those rock gongs.
Hi guys, I'm Liam Williamson. We're here at the British Museum. I've just been playing some rock gong. Please subscribe to this channel to find out more.